que hay gente que sintoniza las plataformas de Metal Memes MX. Yo soy Frank, si han visto el podcast seguramente saben quién soy. Y el día de hoy les traigo una entrevista más no cualquier entrevista. Gracias a nuestro patrocinador ACK Promote, porque esta entrevista es con nada más y nada menos que el nuevo vocalista de la legendaria banda Fear Factory, que yo sé que a muchos de ustedes que nos escuchan les gusta, así que no se lo pierdan, están viendo esto exclusivamente en Metal Memes MX.
Hola, this is Milo from Fear Factory, and you're watching Metal Memes MX.
Everybody, welcome back to Metal Meditations in Metal Memes MX. Today I have a very special guest from a band I know most people that watch this will love, and this is Fear Factory, and this is Milo Silvestro, whom actually is the most recent vocalist for Fear Factory. So Milo, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, man. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti. I know it's been like maybe chaotic these past few days. I know you're on tour on Latin America, actually.
Yep. We played the first three shows: Costa Rica, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, and Quito, Ecuador. And it was my very first time ever in South America, and I loved it. The people are amazing, so lovely and warm and hearted, and the places are awesome. Beautiful landscapes. The food is amazing, and the crowd is on fire, just like I expected. So it was really wonderful experience. Of course, South American tours are more tough because you have to fly, so you just play shows, maybe do quick meet and greet, and you go back to the hotel, grab your stuff, and fly to the next country. So you're basically just playing, and right after play you just fly through the night and sleep in the afternoon next day. So it's going to be a little bit more, your circadian rhythm suffers a little bit from it, but it's still doable. It's just going to be a little bit hard in times, but it's worth it because it's a wonderful experience, and people over there deserve it because they're very loyal and dedicated fans and lovely people. So
yeah, and that's the game, right? Like that's the game you play as a musician and as a person that plays on a band. Like go on a plane and play together today here, and the next day who knows, and then the next day who knows, right? Well, you know where you're gonna play, but I mean, like you're like constantly moving. So, well, actually, here in Mexico, at least, a lot of people have a lot of like this connection with Fear Factory because Fear Factory has this like very Latino thing. I don't know, Dino Casares. It's very like he's got the roots and stuff like this, right? So yeah, so I think Fear Factory it's a very loved band throughout Latin America, so that's really cool. And well, my next question was going to be like, I like when this like old school and new school like gets together, and you have like this like fresh aura around you with Fear Factory, which I like a lot, and these last few singles have been amazing. So I wanted to ask you, how is this new era of Fear Factory going?
I think it's going amazing. We like it, and fortunately, fans like it, which is the most important thing. And we're really humbled and happy for it because at first it was like a little bit of a gamble. I mean, we didn't know. Dino didn't know, and we were always like, let's see what happens. And it was like a like dancing in the dark at first, but then it was the outcome was amazing. People loved it, not just me but Pete too. With Pete Weber is a new drummer, and he's doing an amazing job. Really is a new favorite drummers of mine. Just really great guy, an amazing person, and musician. So he brings a lot of fire and energy on stage as well. So I think that's really another aspect of this new Fear Factory lineup that is intriguing fans, because, you know, of course we were younger. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dino and Tony still delivers a kick-ass energetic performance on stage, and considering those guys are fucking veteranos and are, you know, playing for more than 30 years, and they're in their 50s. I mean, Dino's in his mid 50s, Tony's just turned 50, but they still delivered an amazing, you know, energetic performance still at that age, which is not, this is not you know, simple, but they're fucking, you know, they have a fire inside. So, but on top of that, me and Pete being, I guess, even younger, you know, we bring, I guess we bring a lot of, you know, young energy on stage, and Pete is a heavy hitter, and it hits hard, you know, which is difficult to be like a fast, technical, precise, tight drummer and hit hard at the same time. So yeah, I think we were a lot into bringing this new energy on stage, and of course being tight as well, you know, try to perform good and being energetic at the same time, which is not easy, but that's what we're into. And I think that's the key of the new Fear Factory, you know, being refreshed, regenerated, and being really, you know, tighter than ever, and but also more energetic, you know, and having bringing some new fire on stage.
That's nice. Well, these new songs are really cool. And actually, I came up with this question because I saw a video of you on maybe the first gig you did with Fear Factory, where you are on stage and you say something like, "Welcome to the new era of Fear Factory," or something like that. And I thought that was like super epic. I don't know, it felt like amazing. So yeah, that's why I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, you know what? That quote was actually, it's weird because it came right off the bat. You know, I didn't think of it. You know, that was the very first show in Portland, and I walked on stage. I didn't even know what was about to happen. You know, if I was gonna pass out on stage or something. You know, it was my very first show. I was fucking nervous. You know, and but after the first song, which was Recode, shortly before, you know, the shock was still beginning, and it just came to my mind like this. I just don't know. It was something of the moment, you know. It was something planned. I was like, "Welcome to the new era of Fear Factory," and after the show, Dino was like, "Oh, I liked it," and so I kept saying that every show, and people liked it, and we liked it too, because it's like you said, it sounds epic in a way, you know. It's cool because it's like stating that Fear Factory is back, and this is a new era, and it's a regenerated Fear Factory, you know. And so yeah.
Yeah, well, I did like it too, because it felt supernatural in the moment. That's why it was like, oh, this look epic. So yeah, that was cool. So well, I have a couple more questions for you. So well, my third question was going to be like, is there any band from Latin America that you dig, like that you like, or that you listen, or maybe any of these past days that you have been playing all around?
So we're saying, even though they're not from Latin America, they're from New Jersey, but still they have Latin American heritage. How not to mention El Nino?
Oh yeah,
you know, it's one of my all-time favorite bands ever, and one of my main influences is a singer, you know, Christy Machado, which I had the honor to meet at the show at Whiskey A Go in LA. We did Cinco de Mayo, and
nice.
super nice guys too. And he came on stage singing Edge Crusher, and it was really like a full circle moment, you know. And I was so happy to tell him how much I loved his work with El Nino, how much it was an influence on me. And I think that's maybe my favorite band that had, you know, the Latin influence on metal. Of course, how not to mention Sepultura, Soulfly, you know, that's, you know, Max Cavalera and everything he did. And it's an icon for Latin American metal, you know. On this tour, I've discovered a lot of cool bands, you know, how not to mention there's a cool band called Mini Pony from Ecuador. You know, they're really cool. They're you know, we talk, they're really nice guys. Uh, there's a band from Costa Rica called Totem. You know, I couldn't see them because I was in the airport, but then I checked their music. Not the airport, I was in the hotel. But you know, I was intrigued by them because they were using they had a percussionist with the djembe and, you know, African vibe, tribal vibes, and I was intrigued. So I was like, yeah, I gotta check your music, and you're really amazing. And so yeah, you know, these tours, this Latin American tour, and discovering a lot of you know, less known bands that are really amazing. So yeah, shout out to all of them.
That's really cool. And yeah, actually, here in Mexico, there's a lot of like metal bands, like just metal. Like there's a bunch of bands, and there's a really good ones. Like I don't know, you can. I bet there's a bunch of bands that you will meet here that you will be like, oh, that's good music.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, there is as you probably know, the first three shows, Tony wasn't there because he had plans with Static X in Australia. He played like a bunch of shows in Australia with Static X. So we had a guy named Alexandro Hernandez from Mexico
Oh,
City, filling up on bass. He's a really good bass player and a good friend of us. And he played me a couple songs from his other bands, which I can't remember the name, but I know he used to play, not anymore, but you know, years ago, he used to play in a band called Here Comes the Kraken
oh yeah.
from Mexico.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah, yeah. I know.
And they're pretty good. And plus, on top of that, he played us a bunch of songs from other bands he has. I'm really sorry that I can't remember the names, but I really liked it. You know, it's really, really good bands. And so yeah, I keeping hearing, you know, the songs from Latin metal bands, and they're awesome. I feel like in South America, uh, metal bands are a lot into groove, which makes sense, of course, because that's part of the heritage of Latin culture, percussions and grooves, and I loved it because I'm a groovy guy, you know.
Mm.
So I love how even the most extreme, brutal bands, you know, they still incorporate the Latin groove, and I really love it. You know, I'm a fan of that. So
Yeah, yeah. It's quite a special thing, and just like coming back a little, Il Niño has this groovy effect, like really, really well established. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you that question because, well, you've been here on Latin America a few days, and I don't know, I wanted to ask and see what you would say about this. So, well, I have these other two questions. First is, well, Fear Factory, it's such a legendary band. Like, these guys have been playing since, I don't know, early 90s or something like this.
yep.
And, well, you can see like all the evolution throughout the years of Fear Factory. And as we said before, this is like a new, refreshed Fear Factory, which I do like a lot. So, well, when does the Latino fans of Fear Factory can find the whole album, like a new album from Fear Factory?
Well, actually, we don't have a date yet, but all we know is that we'll be start working on new music in July. So that's the only schedule that we have about new music. So we don't have a date, of course, because that, you know, it's difficult to foresee a date for the new album. There's a lot of things, you know, a lot of scheduling involved. But I personally, I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think that's going to be somewhere next year. But I'm just an assumption, you know, nobody told me anything about it. I just assume it's gonna be released somewhere next year, later on. But yeah, we all we know by now, you know, is that we're starting working on July. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, well, this is my last question, last but not least, and this I always ask, and it goes like, what's the craziest or I don't know, most random thing that you ever experienced on the metal road?
Most crazy thing.
Or bizarre
Well,
or weird, I don't know.
One of the craziest thing we experienced was the actual first day of the Static X tour, when we got stuck in snow in the LA County. It was still LA County. We were supposed to go on what was that, San Francisco, but for some reason our bus got caught in snow, because for some reason it just took a different route. So all the other bands, Static X and all Dope, all the other bands made the venue, and we didn't make the venue. So so we got stuck in snow. We couldn't play the show, and that was crazy. Not just because it was a lot of snow, and you know, the bus got stuck and blah blah blah. It was crazy because it was in fucking California, you know. And I've been told, and I don't know if it's true, but I've been told that the last snow they had in California was 89. So it was that crazy. And it was a really rare event. And that was a really crazy moment. But yeah, besides that, you know, I would say for me that it's a new world. Everything related to tour is crazy. You know, it's all crazy. You know,
I
like
bet.
the fact of being Fear Factory and touring, you know, it's crazy per se, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I get it. Well, thank you so very much for your time. I had a blast doing this interview. Fear Factory, legendary band, and this as you said is a new era of Fear Factory. So I would like to recommend everybody to go and listen to your shows, to your digital music. I don't know if you want to say anything else. Maybe I know the social media, or maybe whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you want to keep up with all the updates stuff, you know, it's Instagram, Facebook, you know, Fear Factory page. You just follow it. You get all the updates and news about shows and releases and stuff, and also the website fearfactory.com. So yeah, since you're from Mexico, I'm gonna, you know, once again talk about the shows we're gonna have. We're gonna have 6 shows in Mexico, so hope to see you all guys there. We're playing with Mini Pony, the band I just talked about, an amazing band from Ecuador, I think from Ecuador, yeah. And so we're gonna, you know, play those shows, 6 shows in Mexico. It's gonna be Ciudad de Mexico, San Luis, Monterrey, Guadalajara, Chihuahua, and I can't remember the last city, but you know, whatever, the dates are out there. So hope to see you guys there. I'm gonna kick some ass, and I can wait to experience some Mexican fire. So
You bet you will, because fans here are crazy. I always say that, and bands know that. So yeah. Well,
absolutely, can't wait for that.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Milo from Fear Factory, thank you so very much.
See you on the road, man.
Oh yeah.